Hello, I'm Leroy Garcia, and this is Blu-ray Gallery Podcast. Today, we're in the studio with two very special people. I love them to death, Stetson Honyumptewa and his son, Aaron. And I was just talking to them, we don't get a lot or enough coverage of the Hopi Katsina carvers anymore. And we need to bring this to the forefront of collectors. They need to understand a little bit of what's going on, the skill level that has developed. I've been doing this now for 35 years. How long have you been doing it, Stetson?
I know, I lost count. Time flies.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a chronology of where contemporary Kachinas have evolved from. When you're a kid, they were probably dressed with fur and feathers and stuff like that, right?
Material.
With material. And so let's go a little bit of the chronology. When did that start changing? Was it Van Manangi that started doing that?
Yeah, and everybody started to, experiment with how to make feathers, because that was the hardest thing to make.
Well, in Van's case, he was carving the feathers, but they were painted.
Yeah.
Right? And so where did wood burning come in? What era did that come in? Was that like the late 80s?
I would say probably early 80s.
Early 80s.
Yeah.
And so probably the first major doll that I saw that had wood burning was Cecil.
Yeah.
Calnimptewa, right?
They were the ones that were.
Yeah, Cecil was a forerunner in that, right?
Yeah.
And was that a big influence to you?
Yeah.
Cecil?
Him and Dennis and Loren,
And that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah, they were a big influence, and, I was watching them, how they were making, so I was, carving, and I was looking at their dolls too and trying to.
So let's say their names, because that's important. They need to be remembered because they've passed.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Ross George, Loren Phillips,
Loren Phillips,
and Dennis Tewa. Right.
Yeah.
And then you had people like Cecil trailblazing the wood burning. Right.
He was the one that started. Yeah, a lot of trailblazing.
And I think by the time you got in, you really worked hard at learning how to burn that wood, to get the textures and everything. Like, give me a taste of what it took to experiment on this stuff.
Well, I first started seeing it, and I was carving with carving tools and knives and stuff like that. I didn't do the Dremel, but I started seeing
Dremel's a big deal.
Dremel, it was a big difference for taking out a lot of chunks where you can't reach, so it takes out, real fast too. So I started to experiment with it, but I couldn't get the hang of it. So I just put it away.
It's hard to learn Dremel. It's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah, it's not. So about a year later, I tried again, and somehow something clicked.
You figured out.
Yeah, and I started.
Where did you come by your first Dremel? Was it Steve?
Yeah, I think so.
Steve Kogel, right?
Steve, yeah.
Steve. So the genesis of Blu-ray Gallery and working with all these great Hopi artists was through a trader named Steve Kogel, and he lived in Taos, where Blu-ray started. And he called me one day. He's like, "Hey, Leroy, what do you think about working with Kachina dolls?" And back then we called them Kachina, then not Katsina, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Yeah." And all of a sudden we had the biggest collection of Katsina dolls in the Southwest, right? Because he brought maybe 150 dolls over.
Yeah.
And he did support the carvers like you. I remember him bringing Marlon Pinto and Kevin Pochima over there, and giving them the wood burning and the Dremels and stuff. And so that was my first experience working with the Hopi people, and not that Marlon Pinto was Hopi. He was Zuni, but
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, he is. He is a character.
Well, and it's funny how the clown carvers they carve themselves.
Oh, yeah.
I think about Neil David Sr.
Yeah.
Neil David looks just like his carvings.
No, that's what they say, when you start carving, you kind of like start carving yourself.
Yeah. And I Leia's gonna have to go get some of this for reference, but he does clowns. Yeah.
There it is.
Neil David.
Yeah.
And he looks just like that too. Like fantastic carvers. And one thing that when I first met those three, Dennis and Ross and those guys, was in California. We were doing a show in Hollywood Bowl over there with Gallery 10, and I have never met so many funny people in my whole life. They were comedians, were they not?
Oh, yeah.
They had to make you laugh for hours.
Oh, yeah, they do. They're just outrageous. I don't know what's their head. They just keep
it never
roll. Yeah,
it never
keeps rolling out. Yeah.
I never laughed so much in my whole life. When I met those guys, it's like, man, these Hopi people they have great humor, right?
Yeah.
So tell me what your relationship to those three in particular.
They're all Dennis.
Were they part of your clan or?
Yeah, Dennis and Ross, they're my uncles.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So familiar.
Loren Phillips is my brother because his father is my godfather.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm his brother.
Yeah, and Loren passed away about 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
There's great people. Those are big losses.
Yeah.
These are the forerunners of modern carving.
Oh, yeah.
So they need to be appreciated more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And stuff. And I know Aaron's on the top of his game, but if it wasn't for these forebears, right?
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't be here. But they're the ones that like paved the way.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
And I started carving without looking at their stuff. I thought I'd make my own style and own way. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
I just want to make it more lifelike.
And the other family I didn't talk about was Art Holmes Senior and Junior. What's your relationship?
Art Senior, he's my brother-in-law.
Yeah.
And Junior, he's my nephew.
Oh, nice. Now, you guys have good blood, man. Because those guys are with the Honyumptewas and those they are the best.
Yeah.
What defines a really good carving in your eyes, Stetson?
The good carver to me is all the motion, the hands, the feathers, and the way they flow, and just all that, and then the texture, and that's what I look at too, the texture of the feathers, the cloth, and the leather,
Yeah. What about you, Aaron? What makes a good doll to you?
I would have to say a lot of the same details. Details are very important in my opinion, because it's what I was taught. Yeah, and a lot of the greats, like you're talking about, Loren, Dennis, all these guys, that's really what they're known for, is the detail that they showed to proportions, anatomy, and the texture of like all the material, like he's saying, and really, that's really what I admire and kind of what I wanted to bring out in my work as well, because that's kind of what I saw every day growing up with my father carving.
Yeah. You had a good example over there.
Yeah.
Well, I also think about those three. They're and Cecil. They were the first hardcore four carvers that actually were trying to go through gallery systems.
Yeah.
Instead of booths, even though they would show up to Indian market, they would sell out pretty quick.
Yeah.
But they really set an example of like they let the gallery system work and elevate. And that's why we're seeing some of the prices we see today is because of them. And Cecil included in that. But another one that I like a lot is Ronald the Honyumptewas.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, the Honyumptewas, man. Loren and Ronald and but was the other brother? I forget his name. Brian. Oh my gosh, Brian was such a character too.
Yeah,
and he was albino, but he was a great. And he didn't have the mastery that you guys have, but he did capture like the Neil Baby
yeah.
part of life,
I like the way
the humor.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It is, yeah. It's his,
Well, he'd carve out houses, and I mean,
yeah.
you know, that was some really good stuff, man. So let's talk a little bit about reference material. So both of you, did you grew up on the mesas, right?
Yeah.
So you're engulfed in your tradition hardcore.
Yeah.
So as a little kid, you're going to all these dances.
Yeah.
And that's where you're getting emotion from. You're remembering that.
Oh, yeah.
What about you, Aaron?
I spent a lot of my summers, pretty much every summer from a young age out there. My grandfather would come pick us up, or my dad would drop us off, and we'd be out there for weeks or a month.
Doing ceremonies and all that.
Once we became initiated, then it was always ceremony. Pretty much, that was what drew me out there. I understood my purpose and my, I guess, what would you call it, responsibility in the community. So,
and did you were raised more in the Picaris area?
Yes. Yeah.
So how'd you balance those two traditions? Because they're similar, but they're not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was. Yeah. It was totally bizarre to go home to Hopi for like bean dance and come back with all, like bows, arrows, and everything that we got out there. We'd be playing with our stuff, and my cousins would be like, "What's all this?
What the heck are you doing?
Where'd you get this?" We'd try and explain to them what Kachinas were, Katsinas, and they wouldn't have any clue.
Yeah.
And
well, Picaris is kind of a smaller village too.
Yeah.
So,
it is.
Most of the villages along the Rio Grande, they do have a Katsina culture, but it's hidden. It's underground.
yeah,
So I wonder what the Picaris tribal was. Is it underground too?
they had society, but unfortunately, all the clan members died off.
Yeah.
Probably the last century or so.
Yeah. So it's kind of a lost form there. But when you're thinking, I can see Stetson like thinking about like, and you too, you're younger and you're seeing all these dances. What other influences in carving do you refer to? Because we're talking about the Barton Wright boat, right?
Yeah.
So in a lot of covers, you guys kind of reference off of that. Because how many Kachinas are there out there?
No, we don't have no idea.
There's no number, huh?
No.
There's
No idea. Yeah. Because once in a great while, they'll bring out some other Kachinas that I've never seen or not even in a book either. So,
Yeah.
Now, I know as I was just having my secretary look online, I know there's another book that people reference more of the dolls that are not carved a lot. And probably because they're more on the spiritual nature and they're not supposed to be carved.
yeah.
But every now and then somebody carves them.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw besides like priest killer, there's even a Jesus Christ Kachina, out there. There's all kinds of stuff. It's just interesting how that evolves.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. That's actually funny. Well, I wanted to have Aaron in here too for a lot of reasons. But so this latest doll. It's the Hemis Kachina, the Hemis Mana, and you guys it's spectacularly carved. There's very few dolls like this, and it's monochromatic. It means you didn't put a lot of paint on there, right?
Yeah.
And what was the purpose of going in that direction?
Well, it just kind of came about in the process of us working on it. I was showing my part of it because I had it finished and my dad was still working on his half. So I was just kind of showing it at some of the shows. And I'd say the feedback I was getting from just the piece being natural on its own was really, to me, really interesting. And then I also talked to some people who were judges and some of the actual competitions, and they were saying, that's something unique,
very unique,
that you might think of actually entering in the competition next year when you have your father finish the other pieces. Not
Stetson's slacking, man. We need to get him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I need to get back in there.
But yeah, I thought about it and I was like, that'd be pretty cool. And he said he's made some like that before, and then they end up coming back.
Yeah, but you usually see them carved independently of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think ritualistically in your culture, you see them come out together in the dance.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the Hemis Kachina, Hemis Mana. When do you see them, and why do they come out? What do they represent?
Well, the Hemis, the male represents pretty much to me represents the spruce tree.
Mm,
And
like an evergreen.
that evergreen, yeah, not the spruce tree, evergreen. So that's what it represents. And when they're dancing, all the
feathers.
yeah, and they say that the clouds rest on the boughs of the evergreens in the mountains. So that's why we use that all the time to call in the rain. The clouds, yeah.
So when do you see the Hemis come out? The Kachina. When is that dance? Is it in June?
No, in July.
July?
Yeah, they're the last ones to be.
It's right before harvest.
Yeah, yeah. That's the end of the season for the Kachina. So that's when they go home, and they won't come back till in December or January. I think January. Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is the word Hemis. In it, there's some associated in the Barton Wright book where associated with Hemis Pueblo.
Yeah.
But when Hemis talks about Hemis Katsinas, they're like, oh, that's Hopi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they do. Yeah.
So that I found that to be very interesting.
Well, I guess we kind of all intermingle with each other, with different Kachinas too. So we call certain Kachinas from other places, theirs, but maybe they say that there's ours too, but
Well, there was a time of the first Pueblo revolt where the Tewa went over there and lived in Hopi.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why you get Honyumptewa. Right?
Yeah.
So there's some cross-pollination with the Pueblos along the river.
Oh, yeah.
With the Hopi people, right?
Yeah.
Because when they went there, you were well protected on the mesas, and the Spanish left you alone, and the Navajos, because those were kind of tough times. But
it was.
Yeah. What I was looking at on your Hemis doll was the amount of wood burning on the plumes, the feathers around the neck.
That's the evergreen.
Is it the evergreen? Yeah. I mean, that's why it took him so long, Aaron.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, it was a lot of burning.
That's a lot of burning.
Yeah. And around the waist too. I mean, the boughs that are on the.
So why didn't you color it? Why did you leave it monochromatic?
Well, like I said, like he said, I don't think anybody ever done that and entered it into judging. So we decided to
do it that way,
something
just do something different.
Something, yeah.
And man, it's a beautiful piece. I'd hate to ship this.
Yeah.
That's the next biggest problem with representing Kachina dolls, is shipping that stuff. And we ship them all over the United States. And I always have to tell people when you collect Kachina dolls, you have to go with the process. They're gonna break here and there, right? Isn't that part of owning a doll?
Oh yeah.
You just get your glue. What kind of glue do you use? You pull this one.
Just use a regular Arlene's glue.
Arlene's glue.
Yeah, wood glue.
Yeah, just let it get a little tacky.
Yeah.
So it sticks faster.
Yeah, it stacks faster.
Yeah. So a lot of the contemporary Kachina carvers, they like to say, well, this is out of one piece. But when you get that detailed and that delicate, you're breaking stuff around. And so I think that's also part of people should realize that.
Yeah.
And they're perfect, but they're not perfect.
No.
They're kind of like us.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
That's what I say. Tell my son too that it's perfectly imperfect.
Yeah. It's like your dad. He's like me.
Yeah. So that's why I tell him too. Put in all the details, because some parts there might be some mistakes, but you're the artist knows. So you put in the details, it'll take the attention away from the mistakes.
Well, a lot of people they don't realize that blue rain in the contemporary Hopi Katsina we have helped develop some of the largest collections in the world. And this contemporary collection that we helped develop actually exists in the Idle-Drug Museum. And between Mel Perlman and Mike Eagle and Terry Rader, there's probably about 300 dolls that were donated. And, and they're of this caliber, all of them. And in fact, one of the first amazing dolls I ever saw was one by your dad. And it was like this, but a little bit bigger. It was so detailed. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yeah. The eagle with a mud head.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, my gosh. It's so beautiful. And so that doll, you can see it in Indianapolis on permanent display. See, you've left your legacy.
Yeah. I was telling him that Loren painted, drew that.
Yeah.
Nice one, too.
Oh, really?
A different background and everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and so I brought this doll that's just by Aaron, and we'll superimpose it. But and you did this in a cloud formation. So tell me a little bit about this doll.
Well, I kind of have this vision to make this piece, and to tell you the truth, it didn't really come out with the perspective I wanted it to. So I ended up just kind of putting it away because I was frustrated. And I was kind of just I wanted it more, I don't know, on a vertical, flowing out with his legs like really kicking out. To where he's like kind of swooping through these clouds, and I wanted him cutting through the clouds. And so with the piece of wood I had, if I did it that way, his legs and his body would have been really small. And I was trying to keep it big.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it ended up coming back to it later and kind of saw what I needed to do to get what I needed to out of it. But I'll probably attempt it again and do something.
Well, that's how you get good. You got to keep on, man. Keep trying. But that's a beautiful doll. And don't get it wrong. Yeah. That's an expert craftsperson there.
Yeah, that one sure impressed me when I saw that. You know?
Yeah, and you're talking about a master carver giving you some kudos right there.
Better hurry up and start carving again. They're right behind me.
Well, let's talk about the material. So a traditional Hopi Katsina, what is the material used? I'm just saying because people, when we're talking about novice people that don't understand, so what type of wood are you using?
Cottonwood roots. That's what the traditional.
Well, that's a big cottonwood root to find out, right?
Yeah.
And where are you finding these cottonwoods?
Well,
because are they at Hopi?
No.
They're great.
They come from all over. Yeah. Got a person that collect wood and been
along the Rio Grande is where they are.
Yeah,
right?
Rio Grande. Yeah, from Colorado. Yeah.
And so the and I'll let Aaron ask him on this one. So why cottonwood root versus any other type of wood?
Well, what I was told is that because the root is something that draws water. So traditionally, these things that draw water and close to water are sacred. So we use them in our ceremony.
Because of that?
Yeah, because of that. But also the root is just really, because it's so porous, when it dries out, it's really light, but it has really great integrity.
It's soft, yet it can retain the shape that you're giving it. Right? Well, I like the spiritual essence of it's the root drying from the water. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. Besides that, cottonwood trees grows where moisture is.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
it's a beautiful form, and I really appreciate you coming in today and talking a little bit. Hopefully, we can do this a little bit more and educate people because they need to. They need to hear this stuff.
Yeah.
And and we need to honor those that were our forebears. The Dennis, the Ross, those guys, Cecil. They set in motion where we're at today. And then you're lucky you had a superstar as a dad, but you have also elevated yourself. Yeah, you did. Yeah, it did. Well, I'd like to encourage everybody to follow us on our podcast on any of the platforms. But if you don't, you can always go to BlueRayGallery.com under the menu bar podcast. Also, I'd like to encourage everybody to go to our online store, BlueRayandPrintShop.com. We can bring art into your everyday life. Thank you, guys.
No, thank you.